Good evening, everybody. What a special occasion this is, and how wonderful to see all of these faces appearing and to see you all arriving. And I'd just like to welcome everybody, really, especially those of you who are unfamiliar with coming to one of our meetings. And you're so welcome. This evening, you're part of our Sangha, our community. So we'd really like to welcome you, and we're celebrating. That's what we're doing this evening. We're celebrating. We're celebrating those students who are receiving the precepts, and we're celebrating the fact that we're actually having a precept ceremony, just this precept ceremony, and it feels like a real growing up place for our Justice Sangha. So I've got a couple of jobs that I've got to do here before we start, just to let you know really what the evening might entail. So I think the invitation, first of all, the invitation for all of us, I think what Jan said is so right, that we just see what happens. But the invitation is to be here with open hearts and curious minds, and to see and to experience the whole event. And we really are all in it together this evening. So the outline of the evening, at the beginning of the evening, we'll be sitting, and I'll say a little bit about that. Just for 15 minutes we'll sit, and I'll say a little about that just before we sit. And then we have verses that we kind of say as we go along, and if there are any verses that we say, we will have them on screen usually for you to join in, but of course on mute you'll be saying them, but you'll be saying them with us. And you'll find also throughout the evening there are bells, and they're just kind of mark the timing and the end of something and the beginning of something else. So and I'll explain a little bit about the first lot of bells. So we have the sitting, and then we move into, we say a verse, and then we're going to have the opportunity to listen to Flint, who is our guiding teacher. We not only can listen to him, we can actually see him. We've got a video, and he will be talking very much about this ceremony and what it means really for all of those people who are taking part in it, and for all of us, because it's very much about our community and how we relate to each other. That is the core of the precept practice, really, how we relate to each other and how we relate to the world around us. And it is our way of meeting that, if you like, in this practice. And then we'll follow on with Josh will lead us into the practice, into the ceremony, and it's a beautiful ceremony, very simple, and you will be able to watch and take part in some bits where there are verses that we say as we go along as well. And it feels like a real honor to be, for me, it feels like an honor both to be here saying this at the beginning of the session, but also to be part of this and to recognize how those who have been studying the precepts, studying themselves and how they are in the world, have now come to this place where they have decided to receive them, and they actually receive some documents as well as part of the ceremony at the end, so you will see and hear what happens there, and that'll be, we'll like try to explain as much as we can as we go along. And and then we come to the place where the participants after the ceremony will get the opportunity for people to say something to them and to celebrate with them and to congratulate them on that place where they have received the precepts and to yes to sort of to say wow. I think so and then finally at the end we come to just a couple more verses and kind of a little bit about what happens with the group that we have. So I think that's a rough outline, and it may go according to that sort of plan, and it may not. So we'll see how it goes. So we're going to sit in a moment or two, and our sitting is the heart of our practice, and we really welcome those of you who are not familiar with this just to join in. We sit in silence in an upright way, and we sit to express our Buddha nature, and we sit for each other. So we're sitting. So as you sit here, if you are here for the first time and you come to support your friend or your loved one, we're going to, you will be sitting to support them as well as sitting for yourself. So we're sitting for each other and we're sitting for the rest of the community. So I'm now going to, in a moment, when we're ready, I will ring some bells. Josh will go to the altar, and I will ring 3 bells, and our sitting begins after 3 bells. And we're sitting for 15 minutes, and then at the end of the 15 minutes, Duncan will strike another bell, and that'll be the end of the sitting, and we'll move into the next part of the evening.
We'll now say the verse of intention. May our intention equally permeate every being and every place with the true merit of Buddha's way. And now we welcome a video from Flint, who is our guiding teacher for just this Sangha. And as Lynn explained, this video explains not just the ceremony, but also the significance of what it means.
Greetings, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to make a few comments at the beginning of this wonderful ceremony. The 6th ancestor of Zen, Huining, said in translation something like, "It is precisely Buddhist conduct that is the Buddha." And this means that both the foundation and the expression of true practice can be seen in terms of conduct, of behavior. That is our lived relations with others, not according to any individual's attainments or some states of consciousness. Many of you are familiar with Suzuki Roshi's expression of this teaching when he said, strictly speaking, there are no enlightened individuals, only enlightened activity. So practicing awareness, as we do in Zazen, naturally awakens in us maybe a challenge or an aspiration to see clearly the impact we have on others and on the world around us. And it helps us recognize that we're always making choices about our conduct in the world. The relational quality of lived experience, this relational quality, is the complete function of being a Buddha, which rests in our liberating, intimate encounter and interaction with all beings. Our practice does rest on a deeply ethical foundation, and the Buddha taught the principles of ethical living throughout his 45 years of teaching to every audience he encountered, from farmers to his disciples to kings and queens. And although Buddhist precepts parallel the ethical teachings of every major wisdom tradition, every world religion, in many ways, Buddhism is unique in the way the precepts are presented. Rather than reflecting moral judgments or declarations of what is good or bad, right or wrong, the Buddha taught an active process of investigation and inquiry into that which is wholesome and that which is unwholesome. The definition of what is wholesome is simply that which leads towards liberation and well-being for oneself and others. Rather than setting out rules or commandments, the Buddha urged his followers to investigate for themselves their own words, thoughts, and actions, and to discover their qualities and consequences. This very process is stepping onto the Buddhist path. Once we engage these practices and step onto this path, there's no end to this practice. And the precepts are always there to be used as guides, as supports, as encouragements, as a trellis on which our practice can flourish. They're not to be used as criticisms or judgments about our life or the lives of others. In fact, the precepts are actually a clear description of the way an ordinary person would live his or her life when their heart and mind are open. We're all invited to join with all beings in this unending path of awakening and compassionate care. You will probably note that this unending path is reflected in the ceremony that's to come, when the teacher will ask the students to affirm that they will continue their practice even after great liberation, even after great awakening. The precepts remain alive only through our living and practicing them. So today we're celebrating the completion of the profound study of the precepts taught by the Buddha. With us are those students who have committed themselves to living the path of these precepts, and the vow alongside the mentors and spiritual friends and family members who have been guides along the way. This ceremony both expresses the vow and invites us to continue to support each other along this path. And I would invite you and all of us to think of this ceremony as having three facets, which of course are the three faces of the triple treasure of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. First, the Buddha. This ceremony, the entire ceremony really is an expression of Buddha nature. The transformation that more deeply connects and commits us personally and intimately to the Bodhisattva vow. And in the process to waking up to the Buddha that we are, that we always and already are. It's this aspect of deep and personal transformation in which we realize our own nature as that of a Buddha. The second facet is the Dharma. The teachings conveyed in this ceremony, the teachings of the precepts and the Bodhisattva vow, and the connection through the teachings to our Zen ancestors are very profound. Over the course of your study of the precepts, for example, one would immerse oneself deeply in the meaning of the precepts in our own everyday lived lives, and you will begin to hear a bit of the personal reflections that these students have made later on in the ceremony. And these teachings are offered through the ceremony to all those who witness it, instructing and reminding us of our compassion, clarity, and wisdom. This is the Dharma. This is the way to live a life in harmony with all beings. This is the embodiment of the Dharma through the precepts. And the third facet of the triple treasure, of course, is the Sangha. Ceremonies are very important in the life of any community. They bring us together, celebrate the transformations and turning points, not only of each celebrant, but of our whole community of practice. We come to know our community and its members as warmly connected not only to each other, but to the deep spiritual nourishment that's offered by the Dharma. Our Sangha reminds us who we can best be together. The path that we share, supporting and encouraging and celebrating each other. And just as there is a deepening of our personal realization, the Sangha too deepens its collective realization, its place in the world, and our collective aspirations to meet the world. So I would invite you to open your minds and your hearts for this purpose as we enter the ceremony. Here are a few additional words from Shohaku Okumura's wonderful book, Living by Vow, in which he reflects on the Bodhisattva vow, which is at the center of our practice. Remember, we've been studying and practicing the Bodhisattva precepts, the description of how a Bodhisattva would live in support of and as a reflection of the vow. Okumura says, all Mahayana practice is based on the Bodhisattva vow. The vow has two aspects: becoming a Buddha and helping all beings become a Buddha. These two cannot be separated. We vow to become Buddhas together with all beings. And the Bodhisattva vow is an essential point in Mahayana teachings and practice. I would probably say slightly differently that these two aspects are realizing our nature as a Buddha and assisting others in realizing their Buddhahood rather than becoming. But later on, Okumura says, vow is essential for all bodhisattvas. In fact, part of the definition of a bodhisattva is a person who lives by vow instead of by karma. Karma means habit, preferences, or a ready-made system of values. And as we mature, as we grow, we learn a system of values from the culture around us, which we use to evaluate the world and to choose actions. This is karma. And living by karma. But in contrast, a bodhisattva lives by vow. And vow is like a magnet or a compass that shows us the direction toward the awakened heart and mind. And this way, of course, is not based on preferences. It's based on following a deep principle and vow rather than preference. So please, dear Sangha members, friends, allow yourself to receive this ceremony and these dedicated students with an open heart. Allow your own heart and mind to be renewed as we engage the vows which we share, and through this ceremony, recommit to taking up the practice of helping each other along the unending path of living a wholesome and wholehearted life. Thank you very much, and I offer my deep and sincere congratulations to each of you who have followed this path of study and are taking these vows today, and to the entire Sangha in the way that I'm inspired and encouraged in my own practice, which assists me in renewing my deeper commitment through your actions and your vow. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Warm welcome to everyone to the 2021 Just This Precept ceremony. My name is Josh, and it's my honor and my delight to offer you this ceremony this evening. The students who will be receiving the precepts this evening, Helen, Joe, John, Judy, Julia, Chris, and Rubina, have engaged in a practice of inquiry into the precepts held in the warm container of the Just This community. The Precepts Practice Group, which started in 2015, is so generously offered by Jan, Lynn, and Duncan. I'm delighted that they'll be able to witness members of the group receiving the precepts this evening. In his introduction, Flint said, "Allow yourself to receive this ceremony and these dedicated students with an open heart, allowing your own heart and mind to be renewed." Excuse me. I hope that in whatever context you are here this evening, a friend or relative of one of the students or a member of the Just This community, your heart and mind are renewed by witnessing this ceremony. Each student has written a letter to me sharing their experience of practicing with the precepts and how they have woven them into their life. In this spirit, I have woven some of the strands of their letters into a tapestry or quilt of their experience to share with you. I began to talk to a friend about her journey with Zen and the precepts. I began to think, wow, this is actually how I feel and how I want to live my life. I completely get this. Finally, this is the direction I've been looking for. This led me to the decision to join the Precepts group to explore them further. Having worked through and talked about the precepts over the last 2 years, I feel that my mind has become clearer and less cluttered. The precepts have been a really useful tool in helping to guide me through a tumultuous, tricky life, a life where suffering and difficulty presents itself to me regularly. The precepts have enhanced my practice, given me a focus and something to really work on. It has been life-changing joining the group. Taking the precepts is a way to ask support from and to offer support to the Sangha in the knowledge that we awaken together in warm connection. I realize that over the period of study, I have simply become more aware of my habits and more aware of the painfulness that I feel in areas where I know I am strongly drawn to life in ways that are at odds with the precepts. Practicing with others under the guidance of Jan, Lynn and Duncan, taking a lead, considering choice, responsibility, and being awake to the motivation and consequences of our actions has led to a deep and rich journey into how best to live life. The most helpful part has been to accept life as it is, not getting anxious when things do not go right, knowing, as if I never did not know, that most things are outside my control. But what I can control is my responses to life's events. Being aware when I'm getting caught up in the self-centered dream, identifying my emotional and feeling responses, feeling the embodied nature of these, not being afraid to sit with uncomfortable feelings and emotions, not punishing myself, but offering loving kindness to myself, therefore being able more fully to offer this to others. Over the last few years, in sitting with my Sangha friends and in studying the precepts, I've given up on the hope and longing for a better day. I've given up, as far as I'm able, the continuous striving to become my imagined, improved, idealized self, and accepted that I am who I am, and that is okay. This realization has been truly liberating. This discovery has allowed me to make time and space for myself just to be. It has allowed me to be kinder and have compassion for myself without the guilt. I am learning that in the big scheme of things, I am not separate from the rest of life. I am not important. I mean this not in a derogatory way. It is not to say that I don't matter, because I feel that I do matter, that my choices and decisions matter, not only because of the domino effect on the rest of living beings and all matter in the universe. Zen is helping me to find myself and to lose myself, and to find myself and to lose myself over and over. At this point in time, I wish to commit to living a wholesome life, being generous with myself in the service of others, and committing to the guidance of the precepts. I understand that my vows announce an intention. I know that I will fail, and I intend to get right back up and continue to, as Flint has said, row my boat into the center of the stormy lake as openly, honestly, and wholeheartedly as I can towards the middle way. This is not merely a way to live my life, but so that I can live my life as me. I understand the precepts to be about relationship, not just to ourselves. When we only focus on ourselves and our inner life, we can become self-obsessed, but our relationship to everyone and everything. They help remind me that every single thing that I do has consequences for the world I am part of, whether I see them or not. I'm reminded that it is impossible to really separate the precepts, yet there is value in studying each one, as their particularity can help us with our field work. Many times during this more concentrated period of study, I've opened my mouth and then caught myself about to say something unwholesome or unkind and chosen not to speak. The precepts have a way of gently guiding me back to the path when I lose concentration and drift away. They remind me of a more rewarding, peaceful and coherent way to live. This period of study has highlighted behaviours that I'm not so thrilled about, but I felt pleased when it has helped me to make a better choice. As a result of this process, I have become more compassionate, forgiving and less critical or judgmental, and have experienced a greater sense of connection with other people as I realized, at a deeper level, our common flawed humanity. This meant greater acceptance not only of myself as I am, but also of others, and a softening of the heart, each day a little closer to the heart of a bodhisattva to which I aspire. As Mizumi Roshi said, I practice to make my heart tender. This practice has made my heart tender. Finally, just bringing a few of these strands together to a small, vivid quilt, my mind has become clearer and less cluttered. We awaken together in warm connection. The most helpful part has been to accept life as it is, finding myself and losing myself, and finding myself and losing myself over and over. Who I am is okay. It's about relationship, not just to ourselves, but our relationship to everyone and everything. I practice to make my heart tender. So we now come to the actual online precepts ceremony. I hope you enjoyed that brief pause. I'm going to start by reading some of the parts of the ceremony before our participants appear. Please, dear Sangha friends, allow yourself to receive this ceremony and these dedicated students with an open heart, invoking the presence and compassion of our ancestors. In faith that we are Buddha, we enter Buddha's way. Homage to all Buddhas in 10 directions. Homage to the complete Dharma in 10 directions. Homage to the endless Sangha in 10 directions. Homage to our first teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Homage to the single being succession of bodhisattvas and ancestors. Homage to Ehi Dogen Zenji. Homage to Shogaku Shunru Daisho. Homage to Sharlak Joko Beck Daisho. May their presence and compassion sustain us now. Walking the path of the Bodhisattva is accomplished through the spirit and actuality of renunciation. All the Buddha ancestors of the Bodhisattva precept lineage have practiced and are still practicing renunciation of all attachments. Renunciation is an unsurpassable way of harmonizing body and mind with the Buddha way. If we give up attachments, we are free. We are Buddha. To sustain and confirm the practice of the Bodhisattva precepts, for their meaning is in living them, we will now offer you the precepts. In order to be fully awakened in the practice of Buddha's precepts, we start with the pure practice of confession. A verse will appear on the screen now, and everyone present can say the verse with me if they wish. or you can follow it as I read it to you. All my ancient tangled karma, from beginningless greed, hate, and delusion, born through body, speech, and mind, I now fully avow. All our ancient tangled karma, from beginningless greed, hate, and delusion, born through body, speech, and mind, we now fully avow. All the ancient tangled karma, from beginningless greed, hate, and delusion, born through body, speech, and mind, all being now fully avow. So I'd now like to welcome the students in a certain order, and you will see them arriving into the meeting. And I'm hoping that Helen, who is the first one for me to welcome, is here. That's great, Helen. So glad you're here. I was going to just pause and have us sit for a while, but great. Well done. So I'd like to welcome Joe and John. And Judy and Julia and Chris and Rubina. That's great. It's lovely to see you all. So you will know, having been a student for a while, that so many things in Zen happens in threes. And as we move our way through the ceremony together, finding our way, I will ask you questions, and I will ask them 3 times. And to each question, please reply, yes, I will. You have gone beyond the karma of body, speech, and mind, and have been freed from greed, hate, and delusion. O good disciple of Buddha, now you may live in the way of the 3 treasures. So I'm going to ask you the first question, and I know that there'll be a cacophony of yes, I wills, but please keep your microphones on. Even after great liberation, will you continue this truthful practice?
Yes, I will.
Yes, I will.
Will continue this truthful practice?
Yes, I
Yes,
will.
I will.
You will?
I will.
Yes, I will.
We have purified our mind and body. Now you may receive the path of the precepts of the 3 treasures. You are seated with Buddha and are really Buddha's child. Will you receive these precepts?
Yes.
Yes, I will.
Will receive them?
Yes.
Yes, I will.
You will.
Yes.
Yes, I will.
I'm now going to screen share a verse called the Refuges, and I'm going to ask the students to unmute for a moment. And as with the previous verse, I will say the refuges, and you can follow it or you can say them with me. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge,
Take refuge in
I take refuge,
in Sangha.
I take refuge,
Take refuge in
immersing body and mind deeply in the way, awakening true mind. I take refuge in Dharma before all being, entering
deeply the merciful ocean.
I take refuge in Sangha before all being, bringing harmony to everyone, free from hindrance. Now I have completely taken refuge in Buddha. Now I have completely
Completely taken refuge in
Dharma.
the Dharma.
Now I have
I have completely taken refuge in Sangha.
So please unmute. The 3 pure precepts. You have returned to your original nature, free from attachments and limited ways. From now, awakening is your teacher. All beings are your teacher. This is the path of mercy for all existence. Do you agree to follow this compassionate path of the 3 treasures?
Yes,
Yes, I do.
You agree to follow this compassionate path?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
You do agree.
Yes,
Yes, I do.
Now will you receive the 3 pure precepts?
Yes, I will.
Yes, I will.
I will.
Will receive them?
yes, I
Yes, I will.
You will.
yes, I
Yes,
will.
I will.
Now I'm going to recite each pure precept. So please recite each line after me. I vow to refrain from all harming.
I vow to refrain from all harm.
I vow to do what is life-giving.
I vow to do
What is life-giving?
I vow to live and be lived
I vow to live
And be lived
for the benefit of all beings.
for the
for the
benefit
benefit of
of
all
all
beings.
beings.
Abiding in the 3 pure precepts, even after great liberation, will you continuously observe them?
Yes, I will.
Yes, I will.
Yes, I will.
You continuously observe the 3 pure precepts,
Yes, I will.
Yes, I will.
even after great liberation.
Yes,
Yes, I will.
10 grave precepts. Now will you receive the 10 grave precepts?
Yes,
Yes, I will.
You will receive them?
yes,
Yes, I will.
You will.
yes, I will.
Yes, I will.
So I'm going to read the 10 grave precepts, and because we're online, I've put them into short phrases. So please, when I stop talking, repeat the phrase that I've offered you. I vow not to kill or harm that which is living.
I
I vow not to kill or harm that which is living.
I take up the way of supporting life.
I take up the way of supporting life.
I vow not to steal
I vow not to steal
or take what is not freely given.
or take what is not freely given.
I take up the way
take up the way.
Take up the way
Away
of taking only what is freely given.
of taking what is only freely given.
And giving all that I can.
and giving all that I can.
I vow not to misuse sexuality
I
I
vow
vow not to misuse sexuality
or manipulate others seductively.
or manipulate others seductively.
productively.
I vow to take up the way of engaging in sexual intimacy respectfully
I vow to take up the way of engaging in sexual intimacy respectfully
and with an open heart.
and with an
An
open.
open heart.
I vow not to lie
I
I vow not to lie
and to refrain from deception.
and to refrain from deception.
I take up the way of speaking truthfully.
I take up the way of speaking truthfully.
I vow not to intoxicate mind
I vow not to intoxicate mind
or body of self or others.
or body of self or others.
I take up the way of cultivating a clear mind.
I
I take up the way of cultivating a clear mind.
I vow not to slander
I
I vow not to slander
or allow silence to harm others.
or allow silence to harm others.
I take up the way of speaking to others
I take up the way of speaking to others
with openness and possibility.
with
with
openness.
openness and possibility.
I vow not to praise self at the expense of others.
I vow not to praise self at the expense of others.
I take up the way of meeting others on equal ground.
I
Take up the way of meeting others on equal ground.
I vow not to harbour anger or ill will.
I vow
Vow not to harbour anger or ill will,
Or seek vengeance or retribution.
or seek vengeance or retribution.
I take up the way of letting go of anger.
I take up the way of letting go of anger.
I vow not to grasp what I have.
I vow not to grasp what I have,
Or be envious of what I don't.
or
be envious of what I don't.
I take up the way of generosity and gratitude.
I
take up the way of
generosity.
generosity and gratitude.
I vow not to disparage the three treasures.
I vow not to disparage the three treasures.
I take up the way of the Bodhisattva.
I take up the way of the Bodhisattva.
Abiding according to the 10 grave precepts, even after great liberation, will you continuously observe them?
Yes,
Yes, I will.
Will you continuously observe the 10 grave precepts?
Yes, I will.
Even after great liberation?
Yes,
Yes, I will.
Towards the close of this ceremony, you have received Buddha's precepts and are a child of Buddha. Please continue to work for all beings and realize Buddha nature as yourself. You yourself and all beings are the Tathagata. Now, by these acts of invocation, renunciation, confession, purification, taking refuge and receiving the precepts, we become the working basis of the Buddha way. We have become, by those actions, the ground for the arising of the mind of awakening. Today, we remember that we are never separated from Buddha, and we receive this practice path of the precepts as an ongoing reminder and commitment. This practice supports us in becoming a larger and larger container for life. You will have received an envelope in the post, inside which is a document. It is a reminder of this ceremony and your vows. Please receive it with my gratitude for your deep and abiding practice. Please will you mute and open your envelopes now. And you'll see on your screen in a moment the document that the students are now opening. It's just about to appear. On the left, you will see an enso, which is a Zen circle, and inside the enso, the kanji, or symbol for way, both offered by Trudy. We use this as a way of expressing just this, the name of our Sangha community. Underneath the writing on the right, you will see my name, and on the document received by the participants, there is my seal containing the 4 kanjis, symbols, which comprise my name. I'm now going to read the closing verse before we move on to the closing section of the evening, which will be led by Lynn. If you would put your hands together for the closing verse, please. We offer this ceremony for the enlightenment of all beings. We live like a cloud in an endless sky, like a lotus in muddy water, one with the pure mind of Buddha.
I'm feeling really emotional at that ceremony. So just take a moment. And we now have the opportunity to celebrate and congratulate each person with warm words. And the way that we have decided to do this is that each person will have somebody who knows them or has been on this journey with them part way, or somebody who is very able, I think, to offer them the congratulations. And so each person will have someone to speak to them. And I'm just inviting those who just received the precepts to notice what happens in them as they hear the warm words. Not always easy to hear warm words about ourselves. So we're doing this in pairs. So the first pair and the first student to come on screen will be Helen, and Catherine is going to say a few words about her, and we're only saying maybe 1 or 2 minutes of words for each person. So Helen is the first one to come up. We can bring her onto the screen, and Catherine is going to say a few words of congratulations to you, Helen.
Helen, I'm so very glad that you managed to make it to the ceremony. And on behalf of the whole Sangha, nothing special and all the Sanghas in nothingness, in just this, I want to extend warm congratulations on your stepping through the Dharma gate of taking the precepts. It's been so encouraging to me, and I know to Judy and John, to have had you in the Precepts group, which we ran for over 2 years. I felt that you really understood that the meaning of the precepts is in living them. You were always there, no matter how you were feeling, and you got the importance of practicing with them, and you understood the power of noticing, and were always ready to give really honest, self-reflective feedback, and also to listen very appreciatively to the feedback of others. Risetto says that it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of tenacity to do this kind of work. You've demonstrated all of these. Thank you. You encourage my practice, especially in the way that you've come forward to co-lead the environment group with Joe. You share your passion for the environment with such a respectful attitude to others. You're bringing forward the precept of, I take up the way of supporting life. And I'm extremely grateful to share this path with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, my heart's going to be so full by the end of this. So the next person to come up is Joe, and Martin is going to offer you some warm words, Joe. You need to unmute, Martin.
Oh, old cow. Huge honour for me to be able to take the precepts. Joe is before us today a much beloved Sangha member. Here, having taken the precepts, and support her in this special moment. Jo will also know that in her formative years, there were some really important people in her life who I know would wish to send their love to her. So that's Kath Norman Graham, Mrs. Noble, her neighbours, Mrs. Teggin and the other lady. And they would wish her well and send her love. 1,000 miles? Question. Jo is the daughter of Reverend Brian Kay and Jennifer Kay, the eldest of her birth siblings. As many of you know, not an easy position for family. An experienced professional, nurse and midwife, devoted mother committed to family life and supporting her own children and their partners, and Georgie, her companion. A wonderful sister and pure-hearted friend to many. In latter years, a trained and experienced counsellor with many hobbies and interests. Jo started life in the Sangha, some of you will remember in 2015, taking part in regular meetings and retreats since. He has been studying the precepts for over a year now, and during that time, much has happened with 3 times in North Wales, bringing the family together, sustaining family members and friends, and taking on the role of exploring and developing family. Not too bad during the pandemic. Now here you are, Jo. You have nourished, sustained, and encouraged me in many ways. Perhaps most importantly, enabled me to join just this and the nothings. You were there for me when I took the precept prayer. I'd like to make you a small offering in return, Jo, taken from Being Upright by Rev. Abs Anderson, where he quotes Suzuki Roshi, who said, receiving the precepts is a way to help you understand. Finally, from me, and on behalf of all gathered here today and more ones, I'd like to congratulate you, taking the precept. Warm wishes and hugs.
Oh, and the warm words just keep coming. It's a little difficult to hear, but it was lovely to see and hear. So the next person is Julia, and I have the great pleasure of offering you some warm words, Julia. So that's that feels like such a privilege. And I think Julia and I have known each other probably for about 4 or 5 years now, I think. When she first came to the little Nothing Extra Sangha, which was in my house, and came with your amazing curiosity and many questions, and but great willingness to kind of see how it goes, I think. And I have had such a delight in being able to congratulate you and to celebrate with you, because it feels like I have shared some of your, personal journey along here, and I know that all of the people from the Little Nothing Extra Sangha would be sitting here with you, as well as those from Nothing Missing and Nothing Special. You have grown into a Just This Sangha member, and you go to many of the groups now, and it feels like what I have been watching is another petal unfolding and another petal unfolding, and it's such a delight to see the attention that you give to this practice and your willingness to self-study, both in the precepts practice groups, but also in your life. And I know that you won't mind me saying that it hasn't been an easy time for you over the last year or so, and that you have said very frequently that meeting this practice and meeting the precepts has really helped that process for you, and how you have you are living them, and that really touches me. And I feel so privileged to be part of your continuing warm and sincere engagement. And I think we can all celebrate with you this blossoming, if you like, and the recognition of your own true nature. So yes, I'm feeling really quite emotional just at saying it. So congratulations, Julia, on taking the precepts. And me again. And the next person to come up is John. And Trudy is going to say a few more words to you, John.
A deep bow to you, John. We've known each other a long time. Walked through Hakomi when you were doing the Hakomi training, and I think there are certain words that I just associate with you, like steadfast and integrity, and something about that there's a steadiness to what you offer the world and a consideration. And I don't know that you ever do something that you think you shouldn't do. And so for me, the fact that you have undertaken the precepts, I know will have been an incredibly considered act, that you're only going to do it if you mean it. And so I have a real deep sense of how much this is a representation of your commitment and your desire to awaken and support others in awakening. And I know that the nothing, your Sangha has just, you and Judy and Catherine have been the three legs of the little stool that may have wobbled but has never fallen. So, you know, I have a real sense of how much your continuous support in that has opened up this amazing community, which we are so fortunate to be part of. So you're a good man, John Copeman. And that's what I would want to say and really acknowledge in the world. So thank you for being here.
Oh my goodness, it's getting harder to keep speaking. So the next person is Judy, and Jill is going to say some warm words to you, Judy. Are you ready?
Oh, dear Judy. So as I sat down to think about what to say to you on this really special occasion, I had such a strong image of Ginny sat next to me, beaming her beautiful smile at you and being filled with pride for you. On that day 10 years ago, when I skidded to a halt next to you in a psychotherapy workshop, some really wise part of me knew to stick with you, and that your chosen path just might be a good one to follow. This was the very beginning of you inspiring and supporting me, and for that I have a deep, deep gratitude. I know that many of those present and many people who are not present will also have experienced that same support and inspiration over the years. A warm hand to warm hand. I know that through studying the precepts again, you'll have reviewed them and you'll have critiqued them and you'll have lived with them as the curious and questioning student that I know you to be. But it's seeing you actually embody them, living your life through them, that has enabled me, and I'm sure many others, to witness your growth. Cherry Huber says, the instant we're at one with our hearts, we are the precepts. So to witness you increasingly becoming at one with your heart and therefore being the precepts has been both such a joy and a real teaching for me. Lynn's right, it's getting hard. So many times when the organising group of Nothing Special and me personally have been wrestling with something tricky or complaining about a situation in which we felt powerless, it's been your voice saying, it's an opportunity, as you show us how to welcome everything and push nothing away. So I want you to know that as you are here, being seen, I see you. We all see you. And we want to offer our deeply heartfelt congratulations as you accept the precepts.
Oh, I've got to talk again. So the next person to come up is Chris, and Jan is going to offer her some warm words.
Chris, congratulations. It's a joy to have you here tonight, and it's been a joy to have you on this journey. You joined Nothing Missing 4 years plus ago, and I was really struck from the beginning, your energetic engagement, your enthusiasm, and your commitment for this path. I remember being really touched by sort of almost the instant that you joined the group, that was something, it was right for you. You felt like this was what you've been looking for, you've been searching for. And you've demonstrated a real sincere and steady practice. So 3 years ago, when we opened the Precept group and you said you were interested in joining, I was really struck by how you already had the book. You've been on this path before you joined the Precepts study group. You were already familiar with the precepts. They were already part of your life. So you practiced with us for 2 years in Nothing Missing. We practiced with the precepts for 2 years, and you were on that journey steadily for 2 years. Even though you had lots of demands and competing commitments in your life, your steady commitment to turn up and be there and be alongside the other Sangha members studying and practicing, you were there. And last year in May, when we hoped we were going to have a retreat, and you were ready and committed to take the precepts, you prepared your letter to Flint, and then COVID struck and you were thwarted. What a shame, what a disappointment. but you have been steadfast in wanting to continue on the path. I'm really struck again by, despite all the difficulties to engage through COVID, with all the demands that you've had, you have practiced steadily in your own space. So here we come. 4 years since you started studying the precepts, here you are tonight celebrating that journey and that path. One thing I'm really aware of with you, Chris, is such a sincerity and sincere care for others, and how you demonstrate this in so many different roles in your life. There's a real sense of you realizing that you are practicing for the benefit of all beings in your role as a teacher, as a wife, as a mother, as a friend, and as a Sangha member. So I am so appreciative that you are here tonight, taking your precepts, and I look forward to continuing this path with you and sharing practice of the precepts and sharing Sangha time together and community. Thank you, Chris. Congratulations.
I think I'll just take another breath. I'm just wondering how it is for people receiving all of these lovely warm words. And we now have Robina, who's going to come up and join me, and I have the delight of offering you some warm words, Robina. It's a delight. It's a great delight. And oh gosh, there's so much that I could say, but we haven't got long enough, really. But yeah, I just feel my heart immediately just seeing you there, and it has been such a joy to share this practice with you for however many years we've known each other now. I don't really know. I mean, you are such a steady and committed practitioner, and I have such great admiration, I think is probably the right word, for the way that you have met and you continue to meet many difficulties that you have in your life. And I think, Robina won't mind me saying that it has been a struggle for her to come to the Sangha. It's been a struggle for you to come to the groups. It's been a struggle to keep the connection. And one of the words that I would immediately think of for you is that you have great tenacity, and that you and you also have, which I delights me, a deep investigative mind. And so I know that if there is there's something that I am kind of mulling over, and just talking to you, you help me to clarify things. So you have a mind that helps to clarify, and I was thinking of the 3 words that Flint mentioned in his talk of compassion and clarity and wisdom, and those all really fit my sense of you, that you have all of those things. And it has been such a joy that you've been able to come to more groups now that we're online, and a joy that you've been able to be part of the groups, although I know in your own steady practice that it's there all of the time, and that you are living the precepts with your heart, and that feels such a privilege to see you now actually coming to the ceremony and receiving the precepts. So, and I feel that all of those who have shared some of this journey with you will also be rejoicing for you. We're all celebrating. And I think you teach me on a regular basis to be steadfast in my own practice, in spite of whatever life throws at me, because I have been alongside you as you have been steadfast in your own practice. So congratulations. And let's celebrate. And I think I just want to do a deep bow to all of those who have taken the precepts and all of those who've offered them some warm words. It feels such a rich and beautiful experience to be here. So I'm going to bow to all of you. And we now have an opportunity for more warm words, and we're going to sort of have the wider community that's here have the opportunity to say something to those who have just received the precepts. And we're going to do that, I think, by people having been able to raise a hand. Is this right?
Hello. Yes, I'd just like to congratulate everyone. And specifically, I'd like to congratulate Chris, who has been my buddy. And I've worked with alongside her in the group before the lockdown, mostly. I'd like to echo everything that Jan said. I know how much this means to you, how much the precepts are a part of your life and have been before you came to the group, and that I know how much you've appreciated finding other people to share the path with, and I really appreciate and have really appreciated sharing the learnings and the teachings alongside you, and it's enhanced my learning as well. So yeah, just a really big congratulations.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, everybody. Just from my word side, just a huge congratulations. This is a major step, and may the path always be gentle with you. May your strength and courage be firm and resolved, and may you take every good bit that comes in your way as for what it is, and for every challenge that comes in your way for also for what it is. And may the Buddha inside you always be with you. So congratulations, and privileged to be here to witness. Thank you.
Yes, you know, warm-hearted congratulations to the 6 of you. And some of you I know a little bit better than others. But I was really struck by Flint's words about the precepts being an encouragement for you all on your journey forwards. And I really wish that for you all, that it gives you such encouragement and strength and resilience. And a particular congratulations to John, because John, you're so modest, you're so quiet about things. And I think being here today and sharing this with you and with all of you has actually really shown me how wonderfully special this is. So yeah, it's really inspiring, deeply inspiring. Thank you very much, all of you.
It's such a privilege to witness other people going through this process. It's such a joyful and serious and lovely, lovely process. And watching all your faces, you know, especially in those kind of almost comical, but just such touching moments, you know, where you have to make sure, you have to answer 3 times. It's so lovely. Some of you I don't really know very well. In particular, there are 2 people that I know better. Rubina we've been in the daytime precepts group for Nothing Missing for quite a while together, and it's just a joy, Rubina, to go through this process with you. Your humour and your questioning, I feel a real kinship with your approach to all this, and I'm just delighted that you've felt able to take this step. And Julia, I remember first meeting you in the meeting house when we were having a lunch break on a retreat, and you were just so clearly so pleased to be, you know, in the fold, and it was just so, and we've kind of kept in touch ever since, not a lot, but you know, kind of regularly, and then we became buddies, and it's been an absolute joy to see you diving into this, and you're such a strong swimmer, you know. It's a privilege to know you, and congratulations to all of you.
To offer warm congratulations to all of the people who stepped forward, and in particular to my friends in Nothing Special, to John and Judy and Joe, and to say that the quality of your commitment to the Sangha is just a constant joy to me, and I feel held up by what you give and very inspired, and I'm deeply, deeply grateful, and I want to express that gratitude on behalf of everyone in Nothing Special and in just this. Thank you.
I feel very appreciative to everybody in the Precept study group and the Sanghas, the head students, the teachers. Thank you all so much for holding my hand as I row into the middle of that stormy lake. I wouldn't be here without everybody, without you all. So I'm deeply grateful. Thank you, Catherine, for your warm words of encouragement. You were always there. And you're very, well, you're inspirational to me. Thank you so much, my dear friend. Thanks to Ginny, thanks to Flint.
I'd just like to say blessings on you all and your dedication to your practice and all that you offer to the world through that, and to the Sangha. I just love to think of you dedicating yourselves. It supports me. Blessings.
I think I also want to say thank you to the way I feel like everyone takes the journey, and only some people feel that point of readiness to take the precepts for all their different reasons. But I have such a sense of how it underpins ourself as a family. So I'm really, really appreciative of that. And also to say, Flint rather naughtily gave the precepts to Ginny posthumously. And Ginny would have said, no, thank you very much. Not because she didn't live a life of vow, but because she didn't particularly like some of that ceremonial thing. But I love the way that we carry her with us in these ceremonies, that she's still with us. And those that Carrie and Suzanne who aren't with us, we are all here practicing, whether we take the precepts. And I'm just so moved and touched to be part of this community. So thank you to everyone who received the precepts and everyone who's come here to offer support. Thank you all.
Thank you. I just want to say what a privilege it's been to be here, and what a courageous and beautiful thing it is to watch people committing to living well. And I'd especially like to thank and congratulate my courageous and compassionate and wise friend Robina, and all of you as well. Thank you.
I just want to say that I came here to give support, but really have the feeling that I've been filled and that I received such an amount of support to go on the path. Thank you, and congratulations, and also, oh, I don't find the word. I wish you every good thing on your path of vow.
So we come to the end of our general congratulations. It's been delightful to hear the heartfelt gratitude and thanks, and just such celebration. Congratulations. So we will now close the evening with the Bodhisattva vow, and I will pass you on now to Duncan, and we'll share the words so that you can choose to join in with us. Thank you.
Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. We vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. We vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. We vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. We vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. This vow frees them all. Delusions are inexhaustible. This vow ends them all. Dharma gates are boundless. This vow enters them all. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. This vow embodies it.
I have the pleasure of both welcoming you and saying goodbye to you. So this is the point where we come to a goodbye. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. And there was something that Flint said in his talk that there were a couple of things that kind of really caught me about this evening. That as a community, it brings us together. As we celebrate each person, we're celebrating the life of the whole community. And he said it reminds us who we can best be together. And it feels like that's what we're just demonstrating this evening, who we can best be together. And I just wanted to let you know that the opportunity to study the precepts or to practice the precepts in a group is continuing. We now have the just this Precepts practice group. We don't call it study in the same way now, because there are so many people who come who have been practicing for a long time, as well as some who are new to the precepts, and it's very much a sharing with each other, and a place of discovery, really, and continual discovery, lifetime discovery, I think. And this year we have our first introductory session on the 20th of May, which is only next week. Goodness me! And we have 5, maybe 6 new members coming to join the group. So we're looking forward to that. It's a continuing process, and people are welcome to come to the group when they've been practicing in the Sangha for a little while. So once again, I think just to say thank you. I don't think there's anything else to say. Thank you, Josh, for offering the ceremony, and thank you to everybody who's taken part. I know how much it takes for us to simply set this up for everyone, and I'm amazed that we've done pretty well on schedule, really, pretty well on time. And thank you for everybody for coming, really, for coming and being part of this. And we have held each other up in this evening. And on a final goodbye, just to say, I keep going through my head the Cliff Richards song, Congratulations and Celebrations. So I just want to say congratulations and celebrations to all of those who have received the precepts. And I already know, as I know, I think I know all of you in some way, that you are already deeply in this practice. So my heartfelt good wishes to everyone, and a thanks to everyone. And I'm now going to close this evening. So I think I should close it with a bell. It feels like that's the appropriate thing to do. So goodbye, and thank you, everyone.